Hey everybody, it's Joel Toppin here, and got a package in the mail from GMT Games, probably over a month ago, with the Doolittle raid in it, and finally getting around to doing the box opening. So, like the cover art, it kind of goes with the whole look of the previous game, which was the Dam Buster raid. So, kind of a cool looking symmetry between the two titles. I like the artwork on the cover. Inside we find a bag full of dice. We find the most hilarious errata note I don't think I have ever heard or ever read. This is absolutely amazing. Take the time to read this. Do yourself a favor. In fact, I'm just going to hold this here. If you want to pause the video and just read it yourself. It's pretty funny stuff. Nothing serious in it, mind you. Just some typos. Here we go. Rulebook is hefty, just like the first game in the series. I would say it feels like 50 pages or more. Yeah, 64 pages. Might even be a little bit more than the previous game. Complexity-wise, though, it's not that complex of a system. The rules are really well explained in the charts in the first game, so I found myself, kind of reading, and you could just kind of play right out of the box. Literally, you can take it, punch it out, and start right away working through the rules and playing as you go, because the game is divided into parts, and so that you don't have to read the whole rule book to play the game. You read about, not even a dozen pages really to get you into the game. And then a few more pages get you in the next level and so forth. And here we have some cards, target maps. These were printed on the board in the first game. Here's, looks like a nighttime Nagoya, daytime Nagoya. And here we have Osaka, Kobe, daytime, nighttime. These got a little bent. They'll straighten out and all. They got a little bent because somehow the baggies got underneath them, and they just sat that way for a long time. Tokyo, daytime, nighttime. So you got 3 different targets, target cards, full color card stock. Then you have the flight turns charts. Notice the F2, F3, F4. That's going to correspond to things in the rules. So. And also on the map, makes it very, very easy to navigate and find the chart that you're needing for a certain function. So all of the flight game part should be, all the charts needed for that is on here. Here you have the attack turns. So everything pertaining to the attack turns should be in this play aid. I should mention, this is a solitaire game. You can play it cooperatively, of course, as with any solitaire game, but it is a solitaire game. And if it's anything like the original, I think it's really got strong role play appeal to it. Naval turns charts, a lot of charts in this particular system. It is a chart heavy system, but these are not boring charts to look at. They're well illustrated. They're pretty easy to navigate. If something is not understood, there's a rule reference and you can look it up in the rule book. I found myself having to do that just a couple of times with the Dam Busters. See, here we are pulling out still more charts. So, the denouement, or however you say that, turns, and then we have target map components. So, lots of play aids. As many play aids as you'll find in a typical game. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 6 different play aids here in addition to the target cards. So a lot of paper in this one. And we still have more. This would be the Debriefing and Vp Charts. Something we didn't have in the Dam Busters. You just kind of had to follow along in the rule book at the end of the game. It's just one-sided. So, Okay. Some counter sheets here. Very interesting shaped counters. Really long and narrow counters. Kind of cool. Something a little different there. So you have sheet 1. Appears to be reasonably well centered. Reasonably well. Yep. Here's sheet 2. These are the white core counters, by the way. These are not the thick deluxe ones that you see with some of GMT's games. These are the white core ones, just like in the first game in the series. So another sheet of markers. Here's some more. Sheet 3 of 4. More counters. And then, last but not least, you have the aircraft, the big 1-inch counters, just like in the Dam Busters. So, 4 sheets of counters. GMT baggies, they were the culprit in why the target cards are a little misshapen. Just gotta lay those suckers flat and I'll fix that problem. Here's the map. I want to unfold the map since I got a little table space with some plexi on hand, so we'll take a look at that in just a moment. And last but not least is the, at least 50 pages. It feels very heavy. Oh, maybe not 50 pages. Looks like it is weighing at 37, call it 40 pages-ish. 40-ish pages. Oh, here's why. It's 2 documents. So a 39-page scenario book. They were just kind of together. It felt like one item. All right, there we go. 39 and 16. I said it felt like it was like 50 pages. All right, so there's a debriefing manual. And then there is a scenario book. This is all the kind of glossy printed paper. And yeah, kind of a neat thing here. So if you want an exhaustive treatment on the Doolittle raid, which is basically just one card in Empire of the Sun, well, now you got a solitaire game here that you can pick at, and you can dive deep into this thing. It's not a terribly complex system, like I said. It's very approachable. You can jump right into this system. But enough of that. I'm going to clear some space, and we'll unfold the map and take a look-see at that. Okay, so I decided not to put it under the plexi because of my lighting conditions here in my game room. That would make it almost impossible to really look at this thing right. So you can see there's lots of parts to the map. You have a time track somewhere on here. Time track up here. This is where your approaches, your flight map, your approaches into the target will happen here. You got your carrier deck where you can put your airplanes, your planning stuff all happens there. The naval stuff all happens there. Task force, lots of neat stuff all over the place. Very thematic. If it's anything like the Dam Busters, it should be highly functional too. Dam Busters was a very functional map, artistically pleasing. Got the job done. All of the aesthetics were very well executed on that one. So we'll see how this one is here. It looks to be a lot of the same. Very, very similar in terms of how it's organized, I should say. This game is probably going to be quite different in a number of respects. So if you do have the Dam Busters, you're probably going to have a number of things that are going to be different here. For one thing, it looks like it is a more involved game. There's more than 3 parts to it. The Dam Busters, there's the planning, the flight, and then the attacks. Well, this one you've got planning, you've got the flight, you've got the aftermath. There's a little bit more to it. It looked like there's 5 parts to the game instead of just the 3. So there you go. That is the Doolittle Raid, Enemy Coast Ahead, 2nd volume, I guess, in that series, if you will, by GMT Games. I'm Joel Toppin, and that's what comes inside the box.